Hi guys, so I'm out for a foraging walk and I'm in the beautiful Somerset countryside, and can you see behind me the darker patches in the grass? So these are signs, not always but often, that we're in the presence of mycelium. You see one here that forms a circle, almost exact circle. So because of the time of year and the habitat, it is early September and we've had quite a lot of rain. We're going to have a little look around this field. You can see the circles all over it if you look carefully, and we're going to have a look, see what else we can find. I'm hoping or expecting to see some kind of possibly agaricus, a field mushroom or horse mushroom, but let's go have a closer look. So just look behind me at these fairy rings, as they're called. I am certain that this is a sign that we've got a really rich mushroom environment for some species or other, although I'm not seeing many or any fruiting bodies as yet. But this is definitely a sign that I will want to keep an eye on. I've not been here before. This is approximately 3 miles from my house, and it's a fair hike up quite a steep hill towards the end. And in fact, we have found, just as I'm talking to you, so you can see this ring here, and just on the edge of it, we found what appears to be, well, it is some kind of puffball. And this one, you can tell by how wrinkly it is. It started turning to spores. You can see them all escaping. Now the spores are carcinogenic, toxic, so you definitely don't want to be eating them or breathing them in. Let's carry on looking and see what we can find. This looks promising. I don't know if you can see behind me the little white spot that we are approaching. See, you see there? That there is the head of what I think is going to be a giant puffball. In fact, oh, what a shame. So looks like someone with a little bit less respect for mushrooms got here before me, and look at all this damage. So this is the remnants of perfectly edible giant puffball mushrooms. Children love to kick them like footballs, and this is what happens. But all is not lost. I suppose it's possible it was done with a machine, but there's still lots left. So over here, look at this beauty. We're not the first one to have had a nibble, but that's okay. I don't mind sharing, especially when we get a yield like this. So giant puffballs, they're one of the easiest mushrooms. Look, we've got more here. They're one of the easiest mushrooms to identify. They're a great one for the forager to learn. So almost anything this size, that's this colour, looks anything like this, it's going to be a giant puffball. The only thing you need to know, and I'll take a slightly smaller one to show you because it'll be easier to cut. The only thing you would need to know really about the edibility is you just cut it in half. I'll do that now. So there you go. And you see that it's clear white all the way through. That there is an edible puffball. Now, when they age, all this inside is potential spores. It's all going to turn into spores. When they start darkening and changing colour, that's when they become inedible, because those spores are actually toxic. But while they're clear white all the way through, like I'm fairly sure this one will be all the way through, then they are edible, and they smell delicious. They smell like mushrooms, like you would expect an edible mushroom to taste. So the only other word of caution is when you get the really small ones, not this size, even smaller than that, what can happen is that you don't have a puffball. And what I'll do, I'll try and draw on this what you might find if what you have is something like an amanita that hasn't yet come out of its sac. So if you get something with this kind of shape inside, what you can see here, this would be the the cap of a regular shaped mushroom. The sort of mushroom that you'd be used to seeing in the shops. You know, you get a cap and then a stem up the middle and an egg sac at the bottom. And what's happened is it's just basically not emerged yet. So the cap is still attached to the egg sac. And you can see that quite clearly by cutting it in half. If that's what you're seeing inside and it's a very small one, then you haven't got a puffball. You have a potentially dangerous mushroom. If it's clear white all the way through, then you definitely do have a giant puffball mushroom. Now, lots of theories on the best way to cook these. A lot of people suggest that you basically dip them in like an egg batter or breadcrumbs or something like that and fry them, and that is certainly a good way of doing it. You can also dry them and make a fantastic powder for making stocks. You can also, and what I'm going to do with this guy, and I'll share with you on another video, is you can slice it and use the slices as pizza bases. So there's lots of things you can do with your giant puffball mushrooms. They're a great find, and I'm really happy to have found these. Hope you've enjoyed that. As always, guys, if you find these videos valuable, there's several ways you can support them, and the easiest of which is to subscribe to our channel. It's also the best way to make sure you don't miss out on these videos. Press that like button for me. That'll do me a big favor, and leave a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you next time. Cheers. A quick word on habitats that I forgot to mention. So you're looking for giant puffball mushrooms on grassland, and again, it's, you know, undisturbed grassland. Anything that gets regularly ploughed or tilled is ground that's going to have the mycelium broken up, and it will eventually kill it. So you're looking at non-cultivated grassland, anywhere like that. So cattle grazing fields are better than arable fields, and anywhere like that. You're not going to find them in woodland. You might find them on the edges of woodland for sure, and around field boundaries, but generally speaking, just anywhere that you've got grassland is a potential habitat for giant puffballs.